Hi guys, it's Andrea Edwards, the digital conversationalist. Bit of a serious topic today. I want to talk about distrust and misinformation or fake news in the age of the coronavirus. Now, look, we're all in a bit of a weird time right now. I know people are getting sick of hearing about the coronavirus. It's not going to change for some time to come. We've got to all hunker down, do what's right. I live in Asia. This has been with us for longer than most of the rest of the world. I know people are still not taking this seriously. I think we've all got to do what we can to make sure that we're doing our best. So I want to talk about distrust and misinformation because it's a huge issue that's emerging in the world right now. If you're on Facebook, you probably noticed that messages are being flagged as inappropriate or spam or against the company guidelines. There has been an issue with Facebook. It's an AI solution because they've had to send all their people home. So it's just a bug in the system because yesterday all of the social media companies came together and agreed that they would do everything they could to tackle the disinformation that's being circulated around the coronavirus. So we all need to be very conscious of what we're sharing, and I'm going to talk through some ideas that I've got to make sure that you don't contribute to the misinformation. So first, I want to show you an article. It's talking about the global war on truth in the infodemic. So they're saying that basically the virus is scary, but the information that's being circulated is even scarier. And this appeared in the National Observer, Canada, and this is a publication that I think is very valuable and verified. But basically, the main point of the article that they start with is that there is a lot of criminalisation of sharing misinformation that's going on around the world, across Asia, across the Middle East, and more. Basically, people who are sharing false information around the coronavirus are being jailed or receiving massive fines. So be very, very careful. Every country is going to handle this differently, but be very careful about the quality of the information that you share. And I will talk through those tips. The other thing that it talks about is that when you criminalise speech or people speaking up, what happens is it stops the people that should speak up from doing so. So doctors, nurses, people on the front line, scientists, people tracking the disease, people who really know what they're talking about, they're scared to speak up. Because when you restrict the flow of information, it actually creates more fear and mistrust. So that's a bit of a problem. The other thing is when governments aren't trusted in the first place, and if you've been tracking Edelman's trust barometer, which has been going for 20 years now, trust has been on the decline in government institutions, especially in the last few years. It's gone way down to the bottom. So we don't trust governments at the moment. Not everywhere, and the West is definitely more untrusted. But the problem with this is that it makes us more sceptical about the information that our governments are sharing. The other thing that's happening is when governments are not being transparent in the information that they're sharing for their country, that's adding to the distrust. So we're in a bit of a precarious situation. Obviously, you can see on one hand that we've got these countries who are limiting the spread of information. On the other, it's free flow information. And as we all can see with what's going on out there on social media, both are not good, right? Whichever way you look at it. We need to come into the middle, and we need to take responsibility. So the governments are doing what they think is right to control the spread of information. The social media companies are getting on board to control the spread of information. But you, me, and everybody else, we have to do our part. We shouldn't be legislated. This isn't just about the virus. We need to start tackling the spread of misinformation worldwide across all issues. Now, there are trolls and bots at play. They love chaos. And I don't understand the people who are behind these sort of movements. I have no idea what motivates them, the pleasure that they get from this or any of it, right? But there are people out there who love the chaos. So just be very aware that there's a lot of stuff going on in the back end, on social media, in the media, and we all need to be aware of it, but we need to start taking our part and taking it seriously. So I'm sure I could have come up with a lot more, but I've come up with 5 tips to help you not share misinformation. And the first one is Wait for any major news announcement, breaking news, or a strong piece of information that resonates with you. Wait for it to appear in multiple sources before you share it. At least 3 sources. So if you see something that really captures your attention and it really speaks to you, make sure it appears in more than one place before you share it. This is a really good way to make sure that you're not spreading misinformation. So that's number 1. Number 2, don't rely on one source for information. So I know a lot of people are very loyal to their broadcaster or their broadsheet. I know people are loyal and people are quite emotionally attached, and that's fine. It doesn't mean you have to move away from that. But at a time like this, it's really good to check out 2, maybe 3 other sources on a regular basis. They've got different experts, different opinions, different ideas. Even if you are politically in opposition to those media sources right now, it might be a good move for you to actually check them, because different media houses are motivated by different things politically, and you don't want to be getting the wrong information at this time. So just to protect yourself, don't just rely on one. From an information perspective, where you should get your information, I really want to encourage everyone to rely on your health ministries in your country. If you don't trust your country, there are governments all over the world who are doing a fantastic job during this time. Singapore is an example of a country that is leading this fight in its country. And so the health ministry there, the information's in English, so that could be a good resource. There are many other countries who are doing a good job. So if you don't trust your government, go to other countries. It's all digital. It's all available to us online, right? The World Health Organization is holding daily briefings. They're sharing great information. Go and check them out. World Economic Forum also, I believe, produces really great content, and they are cautious in the information that they share. And finally, the professional medical communities that it might be in your community or globally who are sharing information. They're also another good source. So go to the trusted authorities in this case. We've got to go to the source of information. The media is often interpreting that information, so let's go to the source. 4, pause before posting. If you have a strong emotional reaction to any information, there's a chance that they could be getting one over you. There's a chance, right? So just pause, reflect, think about the information, think about its value to your community. Is it worth sharing? Is it going to help? Or is it going to make people more fearful? Is it going to make people panic? So really think about what you're going to share. And then the 5th one, I've seen a lot of people sharing information on the coronavirus, and there will be a comment where one of their friends has said, this information has been disproven. We don't want to be sharing fake information. If someone pulls you up for sharing disinformation, acknowledge it and delete the post. We don't want that information to be constantly circulating around. So let's all do a better job. There's 5 points, but keep your eyes peeled. Pay attention to how you feel about the information. If you feel really, really strong emotions, that's a sign that it's probably not the right information to be sharing. So go and check your sources. Just to wrap up, one of the things I really want to ask everyone to be very, very careful about is don't share conspiracy theories. It doesn't help. Look, I love a good conspiracy theory like anyone, right? But there are bad conspiracy theories, like it's been made in a lab in Canada, or it's bioterrorism. But there are also hopeful conspiracy theories that are only weeks away from a cure. Most of the people who are sharing this information are not sharing verified information. So it creates false hope. We need to be paying attention to the CEOs of these biomedical companies and these government research facilities that are working on the cure. When they speak, that's worth listening to. So let's share verified information. Look, guys, it's a crazy time in the world, no question about it. I spoke to my dad last week. I could hear a bit of a fear in his voice. He's in the age group that's considered most at risk. And then a few days later, my mum called, and I could tell she's feeling it too. They're in a different country to me. So all I can hope is that the community that is around them does the right thing by them and doesn't expose them unnecessarily to the virus by just not doing the basic things that we all need to be doing, like social distancing. I'm in Asia. We've been impacted by this for a lot longer than the rest of the world. I've watched the videos with the morgues in Iran full of body bags. We're hearing the stories that are coming out of Italy. I think this is a really serious situation. I'm paying attention to the facts. I'm trying to verify everything that I share. None of us are perfect. We're going to make mistakes, but let's try not to make mistakes because it creates more unnecessary fear and anxiety. We've got a hell of a time to get through. We don't know how long it's going to last. Let's try and stay hopeful, try and be optimistic, and maybe at the end of this we can relook at where the world's been heading and maybe set it off in a new direction, because we need to do that anyway. So that's my hope. Anyway, I hope this helps. Just let's all come together and try and make the best out of this time and try and not make it worse. And we can all do that by being very cautious about the information that we share. All right, guys, I'll speak to you soon.